I want to talk about today how important knowing and understanding storytelling is. Okay. Um, One of the things that I discovered probably a few years ago was marketing and sales and everything wasn't about passing out a bunch of facts, right? It wasn't about telling everybody, and this was when I was in network marketing, what kind of ingredients are in here and all of these things that, people really don't know, don't care. They just want to know what it's going to do for them, right? They want to know what it's going to do for them. Well, recently, I was able to, I was introduced to a book, and here's what I'm going to tell you right off the bat, right? If you don't get this book and read it, then you're missing out on the success you can have in marketing, in my opinion. Of all the years I've been doing this and all the years I've been, marketing online and reading things and so forth, this is probably in the top 10 books, probably in the top 5 books on business that I've ever read, okay? And you're probably saying, so what's the name of that book, okay? So it's called Building Your Story Brand by Donald Miller. And you can get it on Amazon. I will try to put a link for it after this is over and everything. But it just opened my eyes to so many things, so many important things, and so many things that even though they were new on how they were new on how they were presented, they weren't new when it came to how we've been doing things forever, right? And I get asked this all the time. It's like, well, what's the big difference in digital marketing? It's not the marketing, it's the method that you do it, right? We do digital marketing digitally, right? So we do social media, we do videos, we do all these things that back when I first started in the 70s, we had to do paper ads, or we just had to go out and beat the streets and hand out flyers, or do things like that. So if you had enough money to put a television ad out there, you did a television ad. But 90% of the people did it the old-fashioned way. But the marketing, the people, the customers that you were targeting, it was the same thing. You wanted to target the right customers. I remember when I first got started in network marketing back in 1970s. It was 1971 or so. My upline at the time said, well, what do we do? What's the most important thing we got to do? Well, of course, he gave me the storyline of build a list, right? Let's sit down and create your list. And that still hasn't changed, right? You still need that list. It's the most important thing for your business. If someone is telling you that email lists don't work and they're not important and everything else, run the other direction, run the other way. They have no idea what they're talking about, okay? Excuse me. Email list is still the best marketing and sales that you can do, okay? But the other thing they told me was the 3-foot rule, and some of you are probably laughing at this point in time because the 3-foot rule is basically anybody who comes within 3 feet of you, they're fair game. And that's just not true. I thought it was for a few years until I finally figured out that not only is everybody not right for my business, but in the network marketing arena, I don't want everybody in my business. A lot of people, I found out that, I probably don't want these people in my business. So I had to figure out another way, another method of figuring out who my audience really was, who my ideal customer avatar was, and then how to now craft my marketing to target those people, right? And in now walks in building your story brand. Okay, so today I'm going to take about 30 minutes and go over this so that you can see it. But again, I encourage you, get the book Building Your Story Brand by Donald Miller. You've all heard the sayings, facts tell, stories sell. I've taught people for years become great storytellers and great story collectors. Some of the stories that you have that you've heard of other people, if I'm talking to a single mom or someone that, is maybe handicapped or is a construction worker and things like that, my story doesn't relate. But if I have people that I know that have a great story that are in that industry or in that situation, that's the story that I collect, right? So become a great storyteller and a great story collector. But how do your stories go? Okay, so let's just look at the framework, right? So in his book, Donald Miller defines a framework, and it's really 7 areas, okay? And I'm going to bring this back to the movies, because and now you're going to say, "Oh, Ron, why did you do that?" Now I'm looking at every movie. In fact, he was saying in one of his podcasts or in the book, I can't remember which it was, probably both, that his wife hates going to the movies with him because he's like, "Okay, yeah, I know what's going to happen here. Oh, this is going to happen next, and everything else." Because most major movies, most even small movies, most stories follow this framework. Okay, so I'm going to use Star Wars because I like Star Wars. It seems simple as a example throughout this. Okay, so what is the first point of defining your framework? Well, the first point is your character, and your character relating to us is our customer, our potential customer, potential partner in business, potential affiliate, whatever it is. That's the character. In his book, Donald Miller, it's the hero. The character is the hero. Okay, so if I go to the story of Star Wars, who is this? Well, it's Luke Skywalker, right? Luke Skywalker is the hero, and here's where we tend to mess up so many times on when we're building our business and we're marketing is we think we need to make ourselves a hero. We use income claims and yay, look at me. Here's what I've done in life and how much I've succeeded and da 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 da. But in reality, the people that we're looking for out there, they're not really looking for that. And I'm going to go into that a little bit more here in just a few minutes. So the first thing is the character. The second thing is the problem or the challenge or the disaster that happened in the character's life. Again, going back to Star Wars, his aunt and uncle were killed. Their whole operation was burned to the ground, and here he is out on his own by himself. And of course, he wanted to do other things, but he didn't expect it to happen like this. So here he is out on his own. This big challenge. What's he going to do? How is he going to move forward? What's going to happen that's going to change things? If you look at your customer, it's the same way. Your customers are in a position in their life where maybe they want to start a business. Maybe they want to take whatever they have as what their passion in life is and start making some profit on that, making some income out of that. But they have no idea what to do. They've got this challenge, this problem. They want more freedom in the time area and the financial area. They want more time to create some incredible memories with their family. They want to be doing what they love in life for the rest of their life instead of doing what they hate for the rest of their life. All of these things can become the challenge, or maybe they're just people that are overweight and they need something to take care of their health. Maybe they're people that really want to look better, they need better makeup. Whatever it is, that character has a problem, right? Okay. So, number 3, in walk the guide. Who's the guide? Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? Or as my grandkids say, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi is the guide. He doesn't want to be the hero. He doesn't want to be the guy in the limelight. He doesn't want to be the guy in charge. He wants to take the character or the hero on a journey that will make them the hero. And if you start thinking that way with your customers, you become the guide, right? So as the guide, what you make has no bearing on it. The number of people you have helped to make money or to have success is much more important, right? Obi-Wan was one of the great Jedis of all time. And everybody knew who Obi-Wan Kenobi was. Now, in the beginning of the movie, he was Ben Kenobi. But we all knew he was Obi-Wan, and we found that out along the way. He didn't have to tell about what he did, but he did know how to create a great Jedi out of somebody, all right? If you've seen all the series, you know it was with... he was part of Darth Vader. I forget what his name was in the beginning, before he was Darth Vader. But Anakin Skywalker. So he was training Anakin Skywalker and other people, plebes or pupils he had. But he had a reputation of being a great guide. And think about that when you're doing your marketing, because if you're telling everybody how much money you made, I had someone reach out to me, a handful of people reach out to me last year at the end of the year about a program we're involved with, and they didn't know I was involved with it at the time, but they were saying, "Oh yeah, Ron, I made this much money, this much money." I said, first off, they didn't want to show me what they made, which is okay, but certainly if you really are making that kind of money, what difference does it make? Yeah, the only reason I can see why someone wouldn't show me is because they really aren't. But anyways, let's say they were. And my next question was, okay, I can do the math. If you say you made this much, I know how much the product is. that means you helped X amount of people, or you sold to X amount of people. Can you give me maybe a half a dozen names that I can go back and talk to and see how you helped them and how you supported them and everything that you did to make things? They were like, oh no, we just sold the product and put them in a community and let them get their answers there and take the course. Well, for me, even and they didn't know at the time I was in, but that was a huge turnoff, right? Because I don't care how much they made. I want to know if they can teach me, if they can be my guide. And if you look at this theme throughout all the movies that you've ever seen, it's going to drive you crazy now because you're gonna. It's always that way, right? There's a character who has a problem that has a guide. Okay, so what's number 4? Well, number 4 is the guide comes up with the plan, right? Hey, Luke, if you let me teach you how to become a Jedi master, a Jedi, I don't know what they call them, Jedi warrior, you're going to be amazing, right? This is the plan to get you where you want to be. You can travel throughout space, you can fly, you can do all these things, and I don't mean fly like this, but you can fly the star crafts or whatever they were called, right? The jet fighters, the star fighters, and so he had a plan. He set out a plan. They got they went down to Los Isis and figured out where they could get and of course then they meet Harrison Ford, and they get into what is it? It just came right in my head and went out. But his Millennium Falcon, and they go on their journey, right? So again, we want to make sure that the people that we're talking to, the people that we're telling our story to, the people that we're reaching out to, the prospects that we're trying to build a relationship, they know that we have a plan, right? So if I'm trying to connect a certain customer, a certain hero, with the problem they have that I know I have got a plan for, I know I've got a solution for. Now, if I'm trying to connect them to something that I don't have the solution for, it's like, okay, for me, I'm going to teach you how to be a famous, figure skater. Yeah, don't laugh. I did play hockey. That would be ridiculous, right? But if I said, I'm going to teach you how to create a business, use the technology, get something online and start having a passive income, now I know I can do that. I've been doing this for 50 years. I know I've got a little bit of wisdom under me and quite a bit of success, right? So I know that I can do this. So what's number 5? Well, number 5 is the call to action. And in this case, he just grabbed him and said, come on, you're going with me, right? You got to do this. You got to do this. And these next two, if you don't, and people forget this, and I was terrible at this in the beginning. It's like, asking for the sale kind of a thing. If you don't take the time to ask for the sale or to call them to action, if you want to do this, they've got the problem, they're the character you're trying to talk to, you're the guide because you've been doing this, and you've got the plan. If it stops there, then so does their success. So you've got to do a call to action. You've got to say, hey, look, here's our next step. Here's the plan. Now you got to pull the trigger, right? And here's the final 2 that really go hand in hand. One is you have to let them know what failure looks like, right? And in Luke's version, in Luke's eyes, failure was the rebel force loses, the Empire takes over, and life as we all now know it is even worse than it already is, right? And we've got to tell them also what success looks like. And in Luke's case, success looks like the rebel force wins, they take over, they kill the Death Star, everything is good, and the mean old Empire is gone, right? Of course, we know there are many versions there are many episodes after that, or sequels. The same thing. I always tell people, let's look at what your life would be a year, 5 years, 10 years from now if you continue to do the same thing. Will you still be working the same job? Will you still be worrying about where your next paycheck's coming? Will you still wonder if you're going to have enough money to have a vacation with your family, to create some memories? All of these things. Or if you let me guide you, can we change that? What if you had all these memories? What if you had all this time to do what you wanted to do? Maybe live the life that you want because you're always happy because the job you have is doing what you love in life. Now, everybody's not always happy, but they can be because it's a choice. That's a different subject on a different day. So this is I'm going to leave that up there for a bit, but this is the crux of this StoryBrand. And again, now you're going to start looking at movies and you're going to say, okay, here's what I see in the movie, and Ron was right and Donald Miller was right. It follows this. Think about it. Lord of the Rings, right? You have Frodo and Gandalf, right? Harry Potter and Dumbledore. I mean, you look at all of these movies, and they all start. They don't maybe fill or follow every single thing in the framework, but just about. Right? Some of them follow every single one. Right? You look at Lord of the Rings. If we don't get this ring destroyed, if we don't do what we need to do, the world as we know it's going to come to an end. The bad guy's going to take over. Right? And Frodo just knew he had a problem. He had to do something. His guide was Gandalf, and then the team. And the plan was, let's go. We got to go. We got to go get this ring. We got to get it from Gandalf, or not from Gandalf, but the little squeaky guy. See, that's what happens when you get old. You forget. It's like Obi-Wan keeps coming up, but anyways, it'll come into my head. But they had to get it from the guy that was always, my precious, and all that stuff. Right? So it follows the same thing. Harry Potter, right? His parents are killed. He's got this big problem. Who comes along but Dumbledore and Hagrid and all of these people? They've got a plan. You've got to go to Hogwarts and become a master wizard and all of that stuff. And if he shall be unnamed wins, then life is over. If you win, then he goes away, right? So think about that and enjoy it with the movies. Think about what you see in the movies and put this plan together. Get the book. Building Your Story Brand by Donald Miller. It's on Amazon. I would get it depending on how you like to consume, right? I think you can get it on audio. I like it on Kindle because then I can take it on my pads. I can take it wherever I want to do it. But however you want to consume it, and get the. In fact, I think I'm going to order the hard copy just because it's such a good book. I want to put it in my bookshelves. But get the book and start looking at the marketing that you're doing, looking at the difference that it will make when you start changing everything around. Okay, so I hope this has helped. I'm gonna hang around for a little bit and answer some questions. And I see Laura has got a quick question here. Okay, how do we start when we haven't had success or sales? I'm thinking about just being straightforward and saying that I'm starting, but I've learned so much and want to help others. Remember, we don't think and accentuate that I want to help someone and the benefit of being first. Remember that we just have to understand. Let's say you're selling a course, okay, and the course you're selling will take somebody through all the steps they need to start a business, have good success and so forth, but they haven't done it before, right? I work with people like this every single day, right? They don't know the technology on how to build a funnel and how to do graphics and how to do all these things, how to put it all together, what's the flow, how do we make this all happen? If you've gone before them and done even some of it, then you can be their guide. Don't ever underestimate what you have and what you can present, right? You have a lot of knowledge that you just don't know you have, but you always should be taking the time to make sure that you're always growing, right? I want to leave you with these three things. I didn't make a little slide in for them, but these, and I'm not necessarily leaving right now, but these three items you should be working on every single day of your life, okay? And they're real simple. First one is mindset. If your mindset isn't where it should be, doesn't matter what else you do, you're not going to have the success you can have. If you're having issues with money, if you're having issues with you don't believe you're good enough, if you're having issues with why me, I don't know anything, if you're having issues with, I got to work with people, I don't even like people, whatever it is, and I know people like that. You've got to work on your mindset. You've got to work on your mindset. You've got to get better every single day on your mindset. If you're not doing something every day to work on your mindset, okay. I had my grandson came up to me a couple of weeks ago, and when he walked in, and my youngest grandson and youngest granddaughter, they call me Bada. We have 13 grandchildren, and the rest of them all call me Grandpa. And he said, Bada, are you ever unhappy? I've never seen you unhappy. He's 9 years old. And I said, well, Thomas, I don't really get unhappy. And I said, but it's a choice. It's a choice. It's a mindset choice. I get up every day. I'm going to be 72 here in a few months. God's given me an incredible brain still. I've got energy. My wife and I are up at 3:30 every single morning. We go to bed, fall asleep on the couch around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. But we're going all day. She drives a school bus. I'm here coaching and mentoring people and creating content and everything. So, yeah, I wake up every day just grateful that God's given me another day. But it's a choice. And if you're not working on your mindset, trying to get rid of all those barriers, right? We talk about, I got a fear doing this, I got a fear doing that. Well, fear, and we all know the acronym, right? False evidence appearing real, or some variation of that. But the reality is that to get past any fear, you have to take massive action. You just got to take massive action. So it doesn't matter what it was. When I went into the Army early on, not right out of high school, but very close, I ended up going into Army Airborne in that, and I remember after getting out of basic training, I had to learn how to jump out of planes. Talk about fear? Yeah. And you're not jumping very high. It's not like you're jumping at 30,000 feet like a airliner or something. You're jumping at about 1,250 feet. And if it's a combat jump, you're jumping at about, we would jump at 750 feet. And in fact, on the combat jumps, at 750 feet, you didn't even take a reserve, because if your main didn't open, your main chute didn't open, you didn't have time for the reserve to open, and all you could do is hope there was a pillow in there and maybe put it underneath you or something. We used to joke about that. But I remember the first time I jumped, I asked him to put me right in the front, the first person in the door. And on a C-130, if you're the first person in the door on the side that you're on, when they say stand, they go through a whole series of things, checking your packs and all that stuff and everything. And the last thing they say is stand in the door. And you've got to stand there and put your hand outside of the plane and on the outer skin of the plane, because you're going to get ready to pull yourself out, right? And you've got a static line and everything. Well, while you're standing there, the rest of the people, there are no windows, so the rest of the people, they have no idea what's coming. You're standing right there and looking down, and you've got pretty good depth perception. You know it's a long way down. If that chute doesn't open, it's going to be a bummer. And I jumped, and we had to do 5 jumps in jump school, but I fell in love with it. I got past that fear, and I fell in love with it, right? So you have to do that. So first one is mindset. Second one is skill set. You've got to be always working on your skills. Right? And as entrepreneurs, a lot of time, we don't realize that, because when we get a job, they tell us, I have people all the time who are saying to me, well, Ron, I'm technically savvy. I'm technically challenged, right? I'm just not savvy in technology. And first thing I ask them is, do you have a job? Well, yeah. So you've got a strange job, right, that has no computers or anything like that? Oh, no, we got computers all over the place. Well, how do you use those? Well, I learned. When they hired me, they put me through a training, and I learned how to do it. Okay, so you're not technically challenged. This is just outside of your comfort zone in technology that you know already, but you didn't know that when you started either. The problem with a lot of entrepreneurs is there's no requirement for us, right? It's not like, okay, if you don't learn this, you're fired, right? Which is when you get a job, that's typically you got 6 weeks to learn this and become good at it, or you're out of here. As an entrepreneur, you got your own timetable, and oh no, I want someone else to do it. I don't want to have to learn this again. I don't want to have to do all these things. You're missing out. You're missing out on a lot of stuff. So you need to look at those skill sets. And a lot of those skill sets aren't necessarily technology. There's things like being a good inviter, being a good storyteller, being someone who can present, being someone who can get in front of a camera, being someone that's not afraid to be out there, right? I'm old, gray, toothless. But I've been doing this for a long time. I've had a lot of success. I don't care about any of that anymore. I do care about the fact that I know if I don't get out there, I can't help people, and I can't change people's lives. And I don't know how much time I've got left to do that, but I want to make sure that I take advantage of that. So I learned the skills that I need. When first time I went live, it was disgustingly terrible. I can't imagine, I wish I could go back and look at it, but it was bad. It was really bad. But I kept doing it. I just kept doing it. I just kept doing it. If you want to do good marketing, create content, and just start taking massive actions and create a lot of content. You'll get better and better, for one thing, and eventually you'll hone it in and narrow it down to be exactly what you want to be, and people will look at you and go, wow, man, you're really good. You've done this for a long time. You're going, no, I haven't, but I did a lot of it. All right. There's one story that really hit home with me, and it's my story, but I got involved with a network. In 2017, I had to have quadruple bypass. I had open heart surgery. And I had retired from corporate America in 2015 as a software engineer, and I decided I was going to go hog wild in network marketing. I'd had some successes along the way, but I'd learned a lot. I had a lot of failures because it was always my plan B. I made a lot of money in corporate America. So I decided to get involved with a company in 2017, and then I didn't have a heart attack, but I did have to have open heart surgery, and they thought it was a triple bypass, but it turned out to be a quadruple bypass. And then 3 months later, while I was at my cardiac physical therapy at the hospital, I actually had a mild heart attack, and then they had to put stents in that. So I had these physical things that went on that really started to wear on me, and my confidence of, am I going to be able to do this and that. So 2018, I joined the company. And I remember reaching out to my mentor, who I'd been in network marketing longer than him, but he's had significantly more success than me. So I don't care about that. If he'd have been 10 years older better than me, I would have used him as a mentor. He would have been some counsel for me. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, Robert, what do I need to do? I want to just crush this thing. He said, well, Ron, you say as little as possible to as many as possible, as quick as possible. I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds really cool. What do I say? He says, you say as little as possible to as many as possible, as quick as possible. Yeah, I got that part. What do I say? He says, you're not listening to me. You say as little as possible to as many as possible, as quick as possible. No, I got that. What do I say? He said, Ron, I have no idea what you say. I don't know who your audience is. Are you gonna promote the product? Are you gonna promote the opportunity? Who are you talking to? Are you talking to people your age? Are you talking to people younger? Are you talking to single dads? Are you talking to retired, corporate people? Who are you? I don't know who you're talking to. But whoever you're talking to, you say as little as possible to as many as possible, as quick as possible. I said, oh, okay. You don't have a script? He said, scripts don't work. You don't need a script. That's ridiculous. You don't need a script. So I went into Messenger. I had about 5,000 people at the time. I think now I've got 10,000 people, and it's dwindling because I'm not out there anymore. But I'm not really on social media anymore, by choice. But I reached out to 10 people. And it's like, he laughed. I said, okay, I'll do 25. Well, within a couple of days, I got it up to 100. And when I got it up to 100 people reaching out every day, all of a sudden people started responding like crazy. And I ended up doing 6 rank advances in 19 days. And we ended up, being one of the leaders in the company. They sent camera crew and everything out to the house and did a 2-page layout of my wife and I. We spoke on stage, and things really changed. And I ended up leaving that company, going to another one. We were able to do it again. But my point of that was I was told to take massive action, and it allowed me to develop my skills. When I was doing 10, 20, I wasn't very good at it. I kept getting better and better and better. When I was doing 100 a day, boy, I was getting really good at reaching out to people. And not only that, I was getting good at the skill of understanding who were tire kickers and who weren't, right? Skill set. Okay, mindset, skill set. And the last one is tool set. And this is the one I think that people write off the most. I don't want to learn to make a funnel. I don't want to learn how to do email marketing. Can't someone do that for me? Yeah, they can, but it won't be yours. You can never put your heart into somebody else. You could just never do that. So you need to learn how you... Can you imagine a carpenter coming to your house and say, yep, I'm going to build your roof for you and add on an addition and everything else. You guys know how to use a hammer? Could you do that for me? Because I never learned how to use a hammer. I know how to read a plan. I got a good attitude about it. But I don't know how to use a hammer. It's like, oops. Right? I'm going to teach you how to build an online business. I have a great attitude, man. No matter what you do, I'm going to teach you how to fall in love with the process and divorce yourself from the results. I'm going to teach you everything you know mindset-wise and how to even grow your mindset above and beyond mine, above and beyond your own, right? I'm going to teach you skills and how to develop skills and more skills and everything else. But let's not do tools. Let's not. You just pay somebody to do it for you. You don't want to build a website, pay somebody to do it for you. Right? Well, what does that make me? That makes me someone who really isn't a very good guide. Because now how do I guide people? Well, I know these 2 things, but this one here I don't do. I try to farm it out to people. Well, I don't have the money to do that, and I want to learn how to do that because maybe I can make a little bit extra money by teaching other people to do that part too. Well, we're going to have to get somebody else to help you with that because I just don't like that. Right. Mindset, skill set, and tool set. Don't underestimate any one of those three. They're very important. They're in that order for a reason. It doesn't mean because tool set's on the bottom that it is the bottom. I know, Laura. Isn't that cool? I want to learn it all, right? And I love working with people like that. I want to learn it all. I want to know everything. And then there's that place that where you're at where it's like, okay, when do I actually flick the switch and hit the button, right? Because I know that I want to know it all perfectly, kind of. I love Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar's got two quotes that I love. I think are I would throw some quotes at you that are important, but one of his quotes is, "You can have anything and everything you want in life if you help enough other people to get what they want." So if you're always focusing on being the guide instead of the hero, right? Be the hero in your own story. You know how you be the hero in your own story? Be the best guide there ever was. Be able to come out and be able to tell people that, hey, you know what? I do well, but here's what I've done. I've taught Laura and this person and that person and this person how to even do better. Because then people are going to look at it and go, okay, I want you to coach me. I want you to help me. I want to get a product from you. Okay? Whenever somebody comes to me and says, Ron, you got to look at this, man. I've only been in it 2 weeks. I made $6 billion in 30 seconds. First thing I'm going to say to them is, you have a nice life. I hope everything goes well for you. That's great. Yeah, but you don't realize how easy it is and how, I said, okay, how many people are doing it besides you? If you really are. But, I mean, how many people are doing it besides you? Well, I don't know. But I've shown this to a lot of people, and a lot of people have bought it. But how many people are having success because of you? When you put your sales page together, you're going to have testimonies. Well, when you first get started, they may be generic testimonies about the product itself. Your goal, your most important goal for that page is to start gradually replacing those out, right? So in other words, I've got a testimony over here from this person, and it says, yeah, I got the course and it really helped me and I did really good in the course. And because you might be a part of something, which a lot of people do, they're part of something that's a community, and people put their testimonies in there and they say, yeah, use my testimony, so you're using different people's testimonies and stuff and that. But as soon as you get that first one that says, man, I bought this product and Ron was so amazing, helped me out, he spent so much time with me, he answered all my questions and everything else, boom, that one goes in. One of those come out. And then the next time you get one like that, it goes in. Another one comes out. So eventually, the testimonies that you have are about how you've helped people instead of generic stuff. Got to start off somewhere. But every chance you can get a good testimony from someone that you've helped, use it. It's a story. That's a story, right? So, mindset, skill set, tool set. Second quote by Zig Ziglar is, you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. Okay? So don't get yourself caught in that everything's got to be perfect before I want to launch this. Well, it won't be. And everybody thinks it was Michael Jordan, but I believe it was Wayne Gretzky that said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Right? So how would you know if your sales page, your opt-in page, your squeeze page is going to convert and you're going to start getting leads and things like that if no one's seen it? It may be the worst thing in the world, but you don't know that. Or maybe the best thing in the world, but you don't know that. So you need to get it out there. You need to get it out there, right? And last one of my favorite quotes is by if someone everybody we know is Steve Martin, and he said, "Be so good they can't ignore you. Be so good they can't ignore you." What a line, right? Be so good they can't ignore you. I mean, it is one of those things that if we concentrate on building our mindset, our skill set, and our tool set, that we become so good, people just can't ignore it. I want to connect with that young lady. I want to connect with that young man because it's obvious. Oh, Laura, that is awesome. That is awesome. I am so proud of you. Yeah, you just got to do it. And you got to look at the statistics, and you got to look what's going on and say, okay, is it converting? Are things working? Is it doing what it should do? On and on and on, right? But you won't know that if you never pull the trigger. And you've got to pull the trigger, okay?